Hey, before you even think about specs or numbers, let me tell you what happened the first time I heard the Sonos Sub 4 in my room. I pressed play on a movie I'd watched a dozen times, and instead of just hearing the bass, I felt it. It wasn't loud. It wasn't distracting. It was present, that kind of presence that makes every scene feel grounded rather than just annotated. This is for the kind of person who feels when sound is missing something. You know those moments where explosions don't have weight, music feels thin, footsteps in games don't throw on the floor? You sense it, and it nags at you until you finally want more than just louder, you want impact that matters. Before anything else, take a moment to check the current price and stock. Great subs like this don't stay steady once people realize what they actually add to their system. You knew it was time to upgrade when your old speakers made bass feel optional instead of foundational. I remember listening to action scenes and thinking, this should hit, but it just suggested. Music that's supposed to rumble just eased. That subtle disappointment doesn't go away on its own, you outgrow it, and then you start craving sound that anchors the rest of your setup. The first time the Sub 4 came alive, everything else in the room suddenly found its place. Deep notes didn't just roll in, they had shape. Explosions had punch instead of mush. Music had body instead of surface energy. And that's where you feel the difference, not in numbers, but in how it stays controlled and tight instead of muddy or boomy. Once you hear bass that behaves like it belongs in the room, everything lighter starts to feel like it's just shouting for attention. I used it the way you actually live with sound, weekend movie nights where quiet scenes didn't disappear and big moments didn't overwhelm, gaming sessions where every step and impact felt informative, playlists where bass lines weren't just background thump but part of the groove, and even everyday shows where the low end finally felt complete instead of an afterthought. This isn't about turning it up, it's about feeling every layer of the performance. So here's your nudge, don't sit around hoping for a slight price dip or a perfect timing. High-quality subs get talked about fast, and hesitation quietly turns into regret, the kind you notice every time your current setup falls short. You might wonder whether a wireless sub can really deliver depth? That doubt disappears the moment you hear how tight and controlled the low end stays, deep without being muddy, powerful without overwhelming. It doesn't just fill space, it defines it. Here's the surprise most people don't expect: once the bass finally behaves, the rest of your system suddenly sounds clearer. Mids open up. Highs breath easier. Everything sits with purpose instead of fighting for room. Owning this feels intentional. Lows feel precise, not sloppy. Impact feels earned, not pushed. Music feels full, not thin. Your whole setup feels balanced, not incomplete. If I'm honest, any great sub takes thoughtful placement. And deep, controlled bass always asks for real room awareness. But at some point, you stop comparing specs and just choose the bass you already wanted, because every time you consider something weaker, you come back to that feeling of yes, that's real low end. Don't let this be the upgrade you delay and think about every time your current system disappoints. If you're ready for bass that actually belongs in the room instead of being just background noise, check the Sonos Sub 4 now and give your sound the foundation it's been missing.